Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel after ages. And also please excuse my voice if it sounds weird because I have had a cold for the last 4 days and I have been working from home, but it's been a super fulfilling 2 weeks since I left you last. I know I vlogged my week in my life last. I'm just gonna adjust this. Yeah, I vlogged my week in my life last and that's where I left you guys. But as you may have guessed from the title, today I am sitting down with you to talk about some of the things that really helped me elevate my life and help me kind of understand and better prioritize my ambitions, my goals, you know, get my life back on track. I was never off track, but for sure I was somebody who was procrastinating a lot, who felt really demotivated, who felt very uninspired. I was second guessing myself all the time. I felt like I was stuck in a rut. I wasn't able to prioritize, which is why I was suffering like kind of a stagnancy in most areas of my life. Also, please ignore this construction noise. Anyway, so yeah, life was just really boring and very slow, and I knew that if I didn't do anything about it, nobody else was going to help me. I was the one who had to help myself. It was obviously a very iterative, slow and gradual process, but yeah, I have kind of singled out on like 3 or 4 things that I actively changed about my lifestyle, and honestly, bringing about those changes has been one of the best things I have done for myself. Like, future Saloni 5 years down the line is going to thank herself so much for implementing these changes in her life and her body and her brain. So yeah, I hope you learn from this. Again, I'm literally putting this video in a playlist on my YouTube channel called Pretending I Have a Podcast, because not that I am some kind of a motivational speaker or have like years of experience that I am qualified enough to sit down and like advise you. I am not doing that. All I'm doing is kind of just summarizing my life experiences and then pointing out a few kind of rules or habits that I stuck to that helped me personally. Your experiences can be different and these might not work for you. Yeah, so I just kind of wanted to like put that out there. So I think the first thing that I want to talk about is the idiom or the phrase that goes by, you are what you eat. I was a binge eater. I didn't ever pay attention to what I was giving my body, what I was feeding it, at what time of the day or night I was giving it what it didn't need. In fact, this term was coined by a French lawyer. Her first name is Jean. I'm not very sure of her last name, but you can totally Google this. And she used to sit down with her clients and say, you know, tell me what you eat and I will tell you what kind of a person you are. And that is so true. If you are not giving your body what it deserves, and if you are not taking care of your body like you would your job or you would your academics, then you're really ignoring a very big lifestyle change that could take you places in life. When I was going through a very like slow phase of my life, a very close friend of mine, Aditya, he used to always tell me that you have to treat your body like a car. If you give a car bad fuel, if you give it like, you know, an adulterated kind of mix or blend of fuel, your car isn't going to give you the best mileage. It isn't going to run the fastest, isn't going to be super dependable. And that's the same with your body. If you give your body shit to eat. Also, yes, this video does have a little bit of an abusive language because these are some of the topics that I'm really passionate about, and so my passion comes out when I talk about them. So yeah, please ignore my crap language today. But yeah, if you give your body shit to eat, your body is not going to give you anything in return. If you're giving your body like a meal at 2 a.m. which is full of grease and oil, like, and you're feeling good about it, then you really need to rethink your priorities and rethink your actions, because that's not okay. And that's not okay and this is a very grave and serious not okay. Like, it's not just a random thing. Like, I know most of us know eating oily or fried food is not good, but we still continue to eat it. And I'm not saying don't eat it. Like, you should do everything, but in moderation. This is something I've learned from my mom. But the moment I changed that about me, and the moment I, you know, I started intermittent fasting. You don't need to start intermittent fasting. The point is that you need to understand what works for your body, and you need to nourish your body, and you need to like set it with good intentions. And if you are in a phase of your life where you are constantly ideating and you are, you know, ambitious and you're trying to work towards a goal, then yes, you are going to need your brain and your body's help in doing that. And yeah, I guess that's exactly my first kind of rule or mantra that I've followed in the last 6 months, which is you are what you eat. You have to assess your lifestyle. Just because, you know, a billionaire told you to wake up at 6 a.m. every day doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Just because people around you go to office and ideate and think and create doesn't mean it's going to work for you. For me, my best thoughts have come when I was showering, or when I was taking a walk, or even when I was watching a movie in a theater. That's when, like, my brain has been in overdrive and my best thoughts have come. So figure out what works for you and then thus do that. Like, a very quick example, I hate waking up early in the morning. And that is because I know that the best time my brain can work is in silence, and that's late at night. So I stay up late at night ideating, you know, writing, whatever my to-dos are in the day that require my attention to sit in one spot, and I finish my tasks at night. And that's fine if I wake up early, if I wake up like by say 11 or 12, which is almost brunch time or midday. Of course, I've gotten shit about this from my family, but I just have to tell them that this is not what works for me, and I'm gonna have to disappoint them, but I will not disappoint me, because this is just waking up early and like doesn't work for me. I know, like, this is not a diet coaching talk or whatever. This literally is about elevating your life, but trust me, the moment you fix this about yourself and incorporate like a sustainable eating lifestyle, you've won 50% of your battle. I'm not saying I'm perfect, I still have bad days, but that's only because we're human. But the point is to make sustainable eating a lifestyle and to make it a habit more than to do it just once in a while. And I feel like I'm at a point in my life right now where I really don't crave eating junk and I don't crave eating oily food. Of course, I have my hunger pangs, you know, like twice or thrice in a month, especially when I'm on my period or something, but I don't crave like eating junk and stuff that, like, you know, has a stressful effect on my body the next day, because I compare myself now and myself to what I was a year back or say 8 months back, and the way I think, the way I move, the way I produce, the way I ideate, it's all different once I've started eating sustainably and started eating nourishing food that serves my body with good intentions. So yeah, that's kind of my first rule or mantra, I would say. Next kind of thing I want to talk about, which I feel like is very cliche, but I'm a living example that it is the best thing, or literally the best rule book in life. Like, it's a growth hack. The fact that your IQ is the average of the 5 people you spend it around. And I learned this the hard way, that friends are contagious. If you're spending time with uninspired, demotivated, clueless people, you're going to feel uninspired, demotivated and clueless. COVID really helped me like elevate in life in many weird ways, and the first kind of stepping stone to that was being alone and spending time with myself. I was so confused. I feel like when I look back now, my first few years of uni, I was so confused in what my purpose was in life, like what my ambitions were, what my goals were. I was not surrounded with the kind of people that had the same goals as me, and I was not surrounded with, and mind you, you can love unconditionally people who don't have the same goals as you, but it is very difficult to not let your brain get influenced by their actions and by their influences. So if they're not people who have high achieving goals, if they're not people who are ambitious or goal getters or empathetic or vulnerable, basically if they're not people who have the traits that you would like to possess in order to get ahead in life, you are not going to be able to possess those traits. And I can say this with certainty, because from school we've been hearing, like from a very young age we've been hearing this term, right? You are judged by the people you keep like you're judged by the company you keep, and that is so true. And during the pandemic, I kind of just had a 360 analysis of my relationships, of the people around me, and I started setting boundaries, and I started, you know, being very direct and straightforward about what I wanted, who served me, who served a higher purpose in my life, and I started taking actions towards that. I also noticed that because the thoughts of these certain people weren't aligning with me, whether it was friends, whether it was family, whether it was people I'd known for 10 plus years, what was happening is I was projecting a lot of my insecurities, my short-temperedness, my frustrations onto these people when they didn't deserve it, and I didn't deserve that either. So it was a lose-lose on both sides, and so yeah, I started setting my boundaries. I started having like really difficult conversations with my parents too, and I had to tell them that, look, I have a choice here. I can either disappoint you by doing this certain action or by carrying out this certain action, or I can disappoint myself by not doing this very action. And if I have to make a choice right now, I am actually going to go ahead and disappoint you, because I can't afford to disappoint myself, because this is such a crucial period of my life. And I did that with even my friends around me. In fact, now that we live in a very like social media focused age and era, and our kind of Instagram timelines are becoming our libraries, and they are becoming content that we consume on a daily, I think we owe it to ourselves to just sit down like every 10 days or every 15 days and spend 1 hour unfollowing people, or just clearing up and doing like a hygiene check on our timelines that doesn't serve us anymore. If 70% of your timeline you're going to consume is like Bollywood related gossip or like movie related stuff or like memes, then I'm sorry, you're not going to get ahead in life. You have to follow people that inspire you. You have to consume content that allows you to feel scared and out of your comfort zone. I remember 2020, yeah, all of 2020, I refused to go on LinkedIn. I was so scared to scroll through LinkedIn because everybody obviously posts their achievements there, and I was so intimidated by that. I felt so out of my comfort zone. I was like, oh my god, I'm scared, you know, like avoiding opening LinkedIn. And then in 2021, I was like, wait, what? That's the biggest signal. That's the biggest signal that if you can't stand somebody else winning, and if you're scared of that other person's win, you're never going to be inspired by it if you're going to run away from it. And I started, like, I use LinkedIn more on a daily than Instagram or YouTube. Like, the first app I open when I start my day in the morning is LinkedIn. I get a good synopsis and an idea of what everybody else is doing, what the trends are in the market. Like, I do my industry research. I follow like thought leaders from my community, from my industry. I get inspired by them. The next app I open is actually my email, because I've subscribed to so many newsletters, whether that's Wall Street Journal, whether that's Condé Nast, whether that's any kind of thought-provoking or knowledge-based medium of information that I relate to and I like. And yeah, introducing this change has really had such a important and positive effect of my life. So circling back to whether that's friends, whether that's family, whether that's your Instagram timelines, you have to be extremely choosy and pricey about what your brain is seeing and what your brain is consuming, because if you don't give your brain the correct food, it's not going to work in return for you, and you're not going to be able to achieve what you want. And if your goals and your ambitions are high up there, then you also need to be surrounded with people who are high up there, who at least think on that level, right? Two traits that I identify in people, and I want these people to then be a part of my circle, are vulnerability and empathy. I feel like they're the most important traits in a human being. If a person can't be vulnerable enough with you to sit down and discuss their flaws or their drawbacks with you, then I'm sorry, this person is completely self-aware as a human being, and I don't need this person in my life if the only thing they have to say about themselves is based on cloud 9, or basically they aren't aware of their flaws or their drawbacks. I feel like a very big problem of our generation is ego. Been a personal victim of that too, and I think today I'm in a position where I can actually say ego is good for the present, but responsibility is better for the future. You have to take responsibility for your actions. If you see yourself going to a downward slope, it is only you who can get yourself out of it. You cannot blame every other stakeholder in that process. Of course, the world is unfair and there are people who are involved, but the only way to get out of a harmful or an uninspiring situation is if you do something about it. And that's exactly what I started doing, I'd say around like 7-8 months prior to where I feel like I have reached a place right now where I'm very unbothered by about what people say. I have become very like detached from people or even materials as a person, and I only attach myself to a certain vision or a mission that I have for myself, and I feel like that's worked wonders for me. I also kind of want to plug in the fact that in this entire process of me elevating and like me introducing these different like lifestyle changes in my life, my old life has completely fallen apart. And do I miss it? Yes, I do. I miss the comforts that my old life had, but I also am of a very strong opinion that your old life has to fall apart for your new life to come together. I feel like comfort is the world's worst addiction. It's even worse than gambling or poker. Like, if you are in your comfort zone too long enough, you're not going to get anywhere in life, and I'm a living breathing example of this. I have pledged to myself that I will try to do something new, try to talk to new people, try to invite new conversation in my life, and not just be extremely comfortable with the 3 people around me, and like, you know, indulge in newer opinion, newer perspectives on life, because the newness of a conversation opens up your brain to so many different avenues that you didn't even know existed. So yeah, to summarize this and to round it all up, establish your boundaries. It's fine if people don't like you. You don't need to be liked by all people. And no, like, you know, you can't get 100% of people to like you. There are going to be quite a few people who don't like you, and you have to learn to be okay with that. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, who motivate you, who have the same goals as you. If you find yourself feeling bad around a group of people, change those people. Do it fast and quickly, because you don't know how that's going to manifest. If somebody, even in a romantic relationship, if something is bothering you, if you're unsure, if you're insecure, if the opposite person likes you, you know. If you feel confused, then you need to have a black and white conversation with this person about where things are going. I also feel like selfless behavior is awarded too much these days, and it's glamorized that, oh my god, you know, I suffered in silence and I did this for this person and I didn't even tell this person, but they don't know how much I do for them. Like, it's glamorized for no reason. If you aren't selfish, and if you don't put your needs and your ambitions and your intentions ahead of everybody else around you, you're never going to achieve what you want. And I don't know why being a little selfish for yourself is taken as a negative trait. What I'm saying might be controversial. I am no way advocating that you don't be selfless. Please be selfless, but don't glamorize your selflessness. So yeah, basically just consume whatever you're consuming, whether it's in, you know, your social media content, whether it's people, whether it's your friends, whether it's your families. Just make sure whatever you're consuming is healthy, whatever you're consuming aligns with your future vision for yourself, and 100% it's going to manifest into positive things. I took a little break, I'm back. Yeah, so that was rule 2, and then rule 3, the value or the virtue of consistency, and the fact that if you gave me a choice right now, and if you like asked me the same question 2 years ago, I would say I want to be perfect at everything I do, you know. I give my 100% to everything I do. And while that is true and while that is important, I feel like when you're in a transformative stage of your life where you need to get ahead one way or the other, then I would, right now, if you ask me the same question, I would definitely say consistency over perfection. I feel like inherently human beings are creatures of habit. Every successful person will come back to you and say this, that their future or their future successes have just been a culmination of very small habits. The kind of wake-up call for me about this was after my best friend's brother's wedding in December, which I did vlog about. So if you haven't seen that vlog, watch it. But after that wedding, all of my friends and like everybody around me just automatically settled back into their routine, started going to their jobs, started like going back into their daily habits, and I really didn't have a routine, I didn't have a habit. And I was that was a very like crucial time where I was feeling very uninspired and unsatisfied. And even though I had started elevating my life at that point, I feel like that was one of the crucial times where I sat down and I made a to-do list for myself, and I pledged to myself that I would make a to-do list every day in the morning and then tick things off and like be disciplined and organized about my habits. Recently I read somewhere that it's not about what you do on your good days, you know, when you feel inspired and you go out and achieve something. Yeah, that's good and it does deserve applause, but it is really about what you do on your bad days, and what do you do when you're not feeling inspired and when you're not feeling creative and you're not feeling motivated. The only thing that's going to guide you on those days is your rituals and your habits, because you know that you have to achieve something and you have to do it irrespective of how you feel, and you have to wake up and you have to shrug off the lethargy, and only your daily rituals and your habits are going to be your best friend when you feel uninspired. So yeah, I feel like this was a very big change for me, which was essentially like becoming a creature of habit. Obviously, in order for me to inculcate new habits, I had to break my old ones, and this is a very scientific kind of explanation I'm going to give you, but that's what I researched about it, and I also have studied it earlier in my degree. It's about the difference between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. So your subconscious mind is just going to do everything that it's been taught to do, and it's been doing for a really long time consistently. But when you want to elevate and you want to, you know, experience growth and you want to have a growth mindset, you're going to have to activate your conscious mind. And one of the major things that helped me to do it was writing down my goals and ambitions, writing down my daily to-do list, writing down the habits that I needed to inculcate. Like, I've literally finished at least 3 of such books since November, since I actively started working towards wanting to be better. Also, like, staying in the present and not in the past, like, you know, romanticizing about a past memory and about how good you had it, and about how, or even your future, about how you can have it. It's fine, like, you know, everybody does it, but you have to be mindful about if you're overdoing it. You have to stay in the present, because by staying in the present, you're then going to be exposed to the areas of your life that you have to work on. Your body's going to signal and remind you. So yeah, I think this also kind of then ties back into consistency, because once you form new habits, you have to make sure to be consistent about them. Even if you do it imperfectly for 10 days, or it's the 11th day, you are going to show some progress towards perfection in that task. But what's important is to get started, because if you keep waiting for the right moment, you're going to be waiting all your life. This is something I have learned, whether it comes to submitting a CV for a job, or, you know, I'm going to wait till my CV is perfect, or whether it's a cover letter, whether it's an application for your masters, whether it's wanting to sit down with somebody to network. You cannot wait, because you are then going to be waiting all your life. Like, the kind of hard and fast tool I follow is, if I have to meet somebody new, I do like a max 2 or 3 day research if it's a very important person, and I go head fast in that conversation after 3 days of research, because then you can even do a 5-day research, or you can even do like an in-depth 7-day research, right? It's not going to stop. So yeah, I guess consistency over perfection and daily habits, very important. Kind of want to end by saying is that I found myself, like, in my earlier like days of uni, and like when I just started going to uni and stuff, those were like the really very important kind of building blocks of my life, and I found myself chasing money instead of success during those times. So like, if somebody asks me, you know, oh, what's your 5-year plan? Oh, I don't know what my 5-year plan is, but I really want to get super rich, and I want to be completely financially independent, and like not ask my parents for money. Okay, while that's a very good goal to have, like pat on my back Saloni for wanting to be financially independent, chasing money is never the answer. I was sitting down with my mom, and I had a very constructive conversation with her like about 6 months back, and she told me a very important thing. She said, chase success and not money. And since I have actively been kind of incorporating this rule in my life, I cannot even begin to tell you how much my life has changed for the better, how I view things, how I do things, the kind of effort and energy I put into my work that I'm doing, or put into any activity that I'm doing. I feel like when you chase success, your goals are so much different. And of course, when you chase success and when you become successful, money is automatically going to follow. Money will be attracted to you because you are chasing success and you're not chasing money, if that makes sense. But yeah, I feel like once you start chasing success, you can design your own life, which is so important. Like, I was finding myself 2 years back, you know, wanting to get a job in finance, because people around me were talking about finance, and people were like, oh my god, you know, bankers get paid like 100k a year. Okay, like, no disrespect, my mom's a banker herself and I respect her like mad, but that wasn't the life for me. And I the only reason I was chasing it was because, again, people around me. So going back to the earlier part, my friends are contagious. And second, because I wanted to get financially independent. And just by like making this small shift in my mindset, which was that I have to chase success, whether or not that's a job in banking or something that I genuinely like doing, and I chose the latter 6 months back, money has followed, and money and I am attracting money, and I am creating abundance for myself, and I am designing a life that I want. Like, I have options, I have opinions, I am opening like hundreds of doors to new opportunities. I have also been subject to tremendous amount of growth. I have failed and I have learned from those failures, which I think is so much more, well, not better, but so much more knowledgeable than learning from success, learning from failures, trust me. And I feel like when you chase success, you set such high standards for yourself versus for when you chase just money, because at a point when you chase money, that money is going to get capped at some place. But with success, because it's directly correlated to your personal potential, and potential doesn't really have a limit, like with potential, sky's the limit. So yeah, I feel like that is a extremely important shift I made in my mindset and in my thinking, that has really allowed me to view the world in a very, very different light, in a very positive and encouraging and inspiring aura. So yeah, I introduced these few changes, and it kind of was difficult to like jot them all down, because I did. Of course, there are many other things that went into it, and like many, and obviously I'm not perfect right now either. Like, I'm the most imperfect person, and we're all work in progresses, but these are the few things that helped me when I was stuck in a rut, and when I was feeling demotivated and uninspired. And yeah, I would say compared to 6 or 7 months back, or even compared to a year back, I'm in such a better place, both mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, financially. And I only have myself to thank for it, and I only give credit to myself, because if I wouldn't have helped myself, nobody else would have, and nobody else is obligated to. That is something I had to understand. And yeah, like, again, I'm not advising you, I'm merely sharing my personal experiences, and I hope that me voicing this out helps at least one of you. If you want to come back to this video, I will be adding it to a playlist called Pretending. I have a podcast on my YouTube channel, so don't forget to subscribe. I hope you enjoy me sitting down once in a while and having an informal conversation like this. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram, and don't forget to like and comment if you like this video. I will come back with another video next week, talking in detail about how I got my job and how I wrote my cover letter, and also like a template to one of the best cover letters I have written. But I felt like I need to publish this video first before doing that video, because all of these actions collectively have also helped me get my job. And so I just needed to kind of first sit down and put this out there before I made that video. So yeah, stay tuned and see you next week. Bye.